Hello and welcome to our second CAISL hosted TEDx conference. Today you will see the efforts, time, and ideas that we all put together with the TEDx organization team, committee. And I would like to give a special thanks to Mr. Chapman, Ms. Curtis, Mr. Miguel Cardoso, and Mr. Andrews for helping us put this together. Today you will see the talks of me, Mathilde and Thooms, playing Harris and Kaitlyn, Jeon in that order. And I hope you all enjoy it.
Are you happy? When you think of this question, you probably create a happiness formula in your head by adding up multiple aspects of your life, such as family, health, environment, social life, hobbies, and the list goes on. All are reasonable components that do indeed significantly impact your happiness levels. But what about beauty? You didn't think of that, did you? What if I told you that beauty can greatly affect or even entirely determine how happy you are? That beauty can be the key component that drives all others. How many of you consider yourselves beautiful? Hands up! Come on, I want to see self-love. Yes. Hands up, everyone. Hands up. Hands up. Yes. Hands up. Okay, great. I see some hands up. Keep them up for a minute. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to tell all of you why, in the eyes of a whole nation, you are not beautiful. Once I state a feature that does not apply to you, lower your hand. We're going to see who survives. First, if you don't have large eyes with double eyelids, hands down. If you don't have a tall, small nose, hands down. If you don't have a sharp V-shaped jaw, hands down. If you don't have fair, pale skin, hands down. If you don't have under eye fat, hands down. Do we have anyone left? Anyone? Congratulations! Korea thinks you are beautiful. Yes. Woo. Welcome to South Korea, a country known for its delicacies like kimchi, bulgogi, and bibimbap. A country characterized by K-pop, represented by stars like BTS and Psy. No matter how wonderful these are, I am not here to talk about these. I'm here to talk about Korea's ugly side, the side we like to keep to ourselves. So, what is this ugly side? We are the plastic surgery capital of the world with the most cosmetic procedures done per capita. An estimated 50% of Korean women in their 20s and 20% of Korean women of any age go under the knife. Whereas in comparison, 0.05% of American women get plastic surgery. Our plastic surgery industry is so rich and so advanced that it attracts foreigners looking for a medical tour. Between January and December of 2014, the Korean Ministry of Health and Welfare estimates that $107 million in revenue was generated solely by tourists getting plastic surgery in Korea. Not to forget, we also have a booming cosmetics industry. Many of you here today might be familiar with K-beauty, which has recently been gaining popularity through their cute face masks and great skin products. Well, according to the U.S. International Trade Administration, as of 2016, the Korean cosmetics market is estimated to be worth $7.1 billion, making it the 8th largest cosmetics market in the world, representing 3% of the global market. Quite impressive for a small country, if you ask me. This overwhelming and shocking wave of statistics I just hit you with can be largely contributed and credited to the fact that in Korea, beauty means happiness. Beauty means more opportunities. Beauty means advantages in life. We are not hesitant in expressing the fact that being prettier makes you a more likable person. We know that it is unfair and superficial, and almost all of us hate it. But no matter how twisted, it is a fact, after all. You simply cannot be beautiful and happy at the same time. I mean, not beautiful and happy at the same time. That's because beauty is the key that will help you make more positive first impressions, have stronger social connections, open up career opportunities, give you a louder voice in society, and just live a better life in general. This aspect of our society is clearly and excellently portrayed through a Korean makeover show. This show aired for 5 seasons between 2011 and 2016. And it wasn't an ordinary makeover show. It wasn't a makeover through a change in one's hairstyle or a new wardrobe, but rather a makeover through, you guessed it, plastic surgery. Free plastic surgery procedures done by the best surgeons in the market would be gifted to the chosen participant. And these participants would compete for the prize by presenting their awful and fortunate life stories. For them, this makeover meant a different life. It meant their cheating husband, who constantly demanded a divorce, would stop being unfaithful. It meant they even had a shot at fulfilling a lifelong dream of becoming a flight attendant. The show filmed the contestants' lives after the makeover, and the promises of beauty were kept. Their problems, their life struggles, disappeared. The cheating husband suddenly loved his wife, and the girl who was too ugly to even dream of being a flight attendant enrolled for training. This show acted like a group of saviors, bringing the poor uglies into the exclusive better life, only accessible by the beautiful. And this show is a recorded proof that beauty does indeed mean happiness in Korea. That beauty is the key to escape an unsatisfactory life, and plastic surgery is an available tool that one must use to the fullest. Shockingly enough, this used to be my exact thought process during the short time I lived in Korea. I was between the ages of 7 and 9, and I moved from abroad, not knowing much about Korean social norms and dynamics. In other words, I was a clean slate. And upon my arrival, I was enrolled into a public school located at the heart of Seoul. And as time passed by, I naturally changed and was shaped into a typical South Korean child. There was no resistance towards this change because I wasn't aware of it. This idea that beauty is key for the formula of happiness slowly and discreetly consumed me. It consumed me through clever advertisements on public transport, through the pretty and handsome celebrities on TV, and even through my fellow elementary school classmates. I had no idea that thinking beauty equals happiness was not a normal thought to have. And what scares me is that I don't think I would have been able to ever realize this if I hadn't moved out. Because my whole life, my whole world, even as a child, revolved around this idea. I would find myself contemplating whether to impulsively buy that double eyelid glue on the stationery shop counter. Imagining what I would look like with rhinoplasty or jaw trimming surgery. Wondering if I would ever receive plastic surgery as a gift from my relatives, like that one girl in high school did. These were normal, everyday thoughts for an elementary student in my area and time setting to have. Not to be mistaken, I am not claiming it is still like this for elementary students in 2018. I personally wouldn't know. However, my lack of knowledge of today's elementary students does not invalidate the fact that my elementary school friends are now teenagers, buying makeup in mass amounts and drawing up their future plans to get plastic surgery. At 16 years old, I already have one friend who has gotten 2 major procedures done. Children, like myself at one point, grow up surrounded by these harmful ideas that influence their thought processes. making us think we can only be happy if we have plastic surgery. We don't notice anything wrong with it because we were raised with it. It shaped us naturally, becoming a part of us and consuming our picture of happiness. The issue here isn't that my friends are getting plastic surgery. If it's going to make them more comfortable in their own skin and boost their self-esteem, they're completely free to do so. Instead, the issue is that my friends are driven to do so not out of their personal internal desires, but out of society's pressures. It's that the Korean people are made to believe by the beauty industry that the only way to be truly happy is to be their version of beautiful. Meaning, not fitting their standards is ugly and consequently unhappy. In fact, this whole idea that beauty equals happiness is what keeps plastic surgery clinics running and in business, incentivizing them to further push the idea into Korean minds. Insecurities about our physical appearance aren't organic or internally generated, but rather created by firms who financially benefit from us having these insecurities. This is South Korea's vicious cycle of aesthetics. It is obvious that cosmetics companies and plastic surgery clinics profit off of insecurities. And to do so, they need us to stay insecure. They do this by creating well-designed advertisements and placing them in dense, slow-moving areas so that more of us are forced to look at them for longer. They do this by choosing celebrities who are idolized by the younger audience to be the plastic surgery clinic's spokesperson. We don't think much about this. We think it won't get to us, since ultimately we are the ones who are in charge of our thoughts and opinions. But like it happened to 8-year-old me, it can happen to you too. The ideas really do consume you discreetly, and oftentimes you will never realize you have been consumed. Beauty means happiness, and you aren't happy because you aren't beautiful, and you aren't beautiful because you don't have double eyelids. Just like that, you are now insecure of your monolids. You end up convincing yourself that this ideology is a fact, working in favor of the beauty industry. And we despise this ugly side of our country, yet we continue feeding it. We continue hating how we look. We continue looking twice at the plastic surgery ads. We continue idolizing the big eyes. We continue feeding what harms us. This story isn't so distant. It's not 10,438 kilometers away. We observe the same issues in each of our individual home country societies. It may not be as extreme as South Korea's case, but we are all responsible as consumers of being the messengers, spreading these ideas that allow industries to accumulate more power and influence over us. Whether it's the tobacco industry, alcohol industry, meat industry, or even the beauty industry like in South Korea. Our consistent role as messengers is what allows them to spread their ideas, shaping our perception of what leads to a happy, satisfied life. Your life in the future may look like South Korea's society, where one industry has redefined the meaning of happiness, where one industry has hijacked each and every one of our individual happiness formulas. And we must bring this to an end. We must stop being the messengers. We can all do this by simply beginning to talk about it. Start recognizing the fact that we are putting the health of our societies in jeopardy through some of the ideologies we have decided to adopt. For some of us, all we need is a small push, a seemingly small and insignificant discussion that will set off a series of actions that will work to cure our societies and prevent the swallowing of future generations. Korea, we need to stop listening to them. Plastic surgery isn't needed for you to be beautiful. Not fitting their standards doesn't mean you aren't beautiful. Beauty is not the key component that drives all others. Beauty is not the key to happiness. We as a united society must stop spreading and believing in these ideas that shape our happiness formulas against our will. The health of our societies is up to us. We have the power to destroy or cure. But ultimately, we should be the ones who get to define our meaning of happiness. Our individual happiness formulas are ours to formulate. And we need to start reclaiming what's ours. Thank you.